All right, today we are diving headfirst into the world of Arreqqana. And this is a place where science, spirit, and society aren't just related. They're literally woven together into one single fabric. It's an incredibly rich world, so let's get started and unravel some of its threads.
You have to understand this one quote to get anything else about Arreqqana. For them, measurement isn't some cold, objective thing. No, it's a sacred act. It's like listening to the universe breathe. This right here, this sets the stage for a reality where math actually has a soul. And physics, well, physics has a pulse.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to journey through 4 key parts of this world. We'll kick things off with their mind-bending sacred mathematics. Then, we'll get personal and look at their philosophy of the self. After that, we'll see how all that shapes their culture. And finally, we'll meet the existential threat that wants to tear it all down. First up, the calculus of feeling. Now, to really get this, you have to throw out everything you learned in high school math. Forget cold, hard numbers. In Arreqqana, math is a living language. It's what they use to describe the emotional tone of the entire universe. Okay, check this out, because this is the fundamental difference. Our calculus, right? It asks how fast something is changing. But our ArreqqanaThe calculus, which they call ArreqqanaThe, asks something totally different. It asks, how does it feel while it's changing? It's not just measuring the rate, it's measuring the resonance, the spiritual echo that change leaves behind. And this is where it gets really wild. Look how they translate these concepts. To us, a derivative is just a rate of change. To them, it's quiayelen, the heartbeat of change. An integral isn't just an accumulation. It's razveyan, the total resonance gathered. Every single mathematical idea that we treat as an abstraction has a living, breathing, spiritual counterpart in their world. And get this, they don't use our cold symbols like dx over dy. Instead, they have these beautiful descriptive glyphs. The wave for differentiation, the loop for integration, the still flame for constant. It's a visual language that actually embodies the concepts. It's art, spirit, and math all rolled into one. Pretty amazing, right? And this is not just some philosophical mumbo-jumbo. They use this stuff every single day. Healers will literally chart the curve of a person's grief as it fades. Can you imagine? Economists track something called thread value, which is basically the collective good vibes of a community. They've applied this spiritual math to every single part of their lives. So we've seen how this sacred math applies to the big stuff, the cosmos. But how does it apply to the soul? Well, that brings us to our next section, and a core idea in Arreqqa called stormy bravado. We all know this feeling, don't we? That need to act all strong and confident when, on the inside, you're just a mess of doubt. Well, the Arreqqanans have a name for it, Kasor no Nadorwa. It's that energy of someone who talks really loudly because, deep down, they feel like no one's listening. But here's the beautiful part. They don't see this as some kind of character flaw. For them, it's a natural cycle. First, you get the thunder. That's the big outburst. But that's followed by the rain, the necessary emotional release, the softening. And only then can you reach the clear flame, which is a return to a real, quiet, centered strength that doesn't need to shout. And they have a mantra to help guide them through it. May my strength walk calmly. It's just a simple tool for recentering yourself, a quiet little reminder that true power doesn't need to roar to be heard. Okay, so you've got a math that feels and a psychology that breathes. What kind of society does that actually build? Let's dive into how these ideas weave together a culture that's very, very different from our own. This comparison really gets to the heart of it. On Earth, we often think of our identity as something we carve out for ourselves, our individuality. But in Arreqqana, identity is thread-centered. You're not just a single strand. You're part of a much larger, more beautiful braid. Your sense of self is deeply tied to your community, your spirit, your place in the weave. And you see these threads being woven in real time in these tiny, intimate moments. When outsiders start to become part of the community, it's not just about learning the rules. It's about resonance. You hear these whispers. He eats like us now. The Earth Girl laughs like Peppy. It shows a culture that is so tuned into these subtle connections, to feeling when people's threads start to harmonize. Which brings us to our final and darkest section. We've seen this beautiful world built on connection, on resonance, on these interwoven threads. So now we have to look at the force that has come to take a pair of scissors to the whole thing. This is it. This is the central question that drives the conflict of this entire world. In a society where all of your strength, your identity, your reality comes from connection, what's the ultimate weapon against you? It's not a sword. It's something that attacks the weave itself. So, meet the invaders from Corvaxis. They are these intelligent, terrifying shapeshifters, and they're desperate. Their world is dying. They're not here just to conquer. They're here to consume ArreqqanaThe's very life force, these Kia flame wells. And their method is to destroy the bonds that make this society strong in the first place. Their leader is Vraxion, and his danger isn't brute strength, it's something way more insidious. He can copy not just how someone looks and sounds, but their actual spiritual signature, which makes him completely undetectable. Just imagine him, disguised as a high priest, whispering the perfect little lies to unravel the faith from the inside. Then you've got Zirika, who's a completely different kind of nightmare. She's an emotional predator. She doesn't just kill you, she eats your memories, your emotions, and leaves you a hollowed-out shell. She poses as a merchant, selling these beautiful little trinkets that slowly, quietly just drain all the love and life out of anyone who owns them. And this one is maybe the most terrifying of all. Corvan. This thing doesn't just mimic people, it can wear their skin memory. It gets into the heart of a family by taking the form of a lost son, a dead wife, twisting grief and love into weapons to destroy a family from the inside out. It's just chilling. And finally, there's Thisor. He is the ultimate enemy. He is the philosophical opposite of everything Arreqqana stands for. Where they weave, he rips. He can literally see the spiritual threads that connect people, and he can cut them. One minute you have lifelong friends, and the next they're at each other's throats with betrayal and confusion, and they don't even know why. And that leaves us with a final, haunting question. When your entire world, your entire sense of self is built on trust and harmony, what do you do when the enemy isn't at the gate, but is sitting right next to you at the dinner table, wearing the face of someone you love? How do you possibly fight a shadow that has stolen the light?